Hey guys, MC Mora here, and today is the day we get to judge. My favorite thing. Obviously, recently Capcom put out the balance patch for Street Fighter 6, and as you probably know, if you're watching this video, you probably know that I went through and covered every single member of the roster, covered every single change, right? So I went through the whole thing. And when I look through a character change, my process is typically I will read the patch notes, I will try something for myself, I will take a look at the trial, see if there's anything different, I will take a look at the character Discord, see what people are finding, I will take a look at the Twitter, see what people are coming up with, tech, etc. So I tried as much as possible to be in the knowledge when I'm talking about specific character, right? With all that being said, I do believe like right now I have a good perspective on which characters got the good end of the stick, which one didn't, and the overall direction of the patch, right? So, like I said, it's time to judge. Is this patch a good one or not? Now, you can love Street Fighter 6, you can maybe not be the biggest fan, but if there's one thing that I feel like generally people wanted is a shake-up. Right, because Street Fighter 6 more or less have been the same game ever since the second beta maybe, right? Sure, some characters like Kimberly got nerfed a little bit, but the game in general didn't really change that much. So a lot of people wanted shake-up, especially since the tournament scene as well was kind of stagnant and all of that. So this is something that we got to keep in mind. It took them an entire year to put this patch out, right? Now, another thing that we got to keep in mind when I try to make an assessment on this patch is the fact that the drive system is integral to this game, right? Drive rush, drive parry, all of that are integral parts. Now, Capcom did actually tinker with them this time around. I think this is the first time where they actually went through and did some changes to the drive mechanics, right? And if you played at all after the patch, some of them you will feel immediately. The perfect parry scaling is something you will feel immediately, right? And it's something that you have to take into consideration when balancing these characters. For example, Honda, right? Honda was considered by many to be like, oh my god, Capcom nerfed Honda, how could they nerf a low tier? But man, like, Honda is the perfect parry simulator. This character, his entire matchup was he's either the sky or he does butt slams, and that was it. That was the character, right? So if you parried him well, he was nothing. He was a joke of a character. If you are not good at that day with your perfect parry, he was a struggle. So his design was awful, right? Now, obviously, because perfect parry got nerfed, now that he doesn't get punished as hard, Capcom had to change his playstyle. Right? And I think what they did ultimately is a good thing. I think Honda now as a character, his design is in a much better place. And even on my Honda changes comment, people are very positive about the direction that Capcom is taking Honda in. So that's good, right? But, I mean, let's roll back a little bit. We acknowledge that they changed drive, we acknowledge that they changed parry. And on the topic of drive, before I forget, there's also drive rush, because take a look at like Jury and DJ, right? These two are the poster children of raw drive rush abuse, right? If you hate raw drive rush, you pretty much means that you hate fighting DJ and you hate fighting Jury. She's still gonna drive rush medium kick, he's still gonna drive rush jab, drive rush grab you. Now, they did say that drive rushes are now easier to stuff. From my personal experience, it seems to be the case, but still not completely fixed, because if the opponent does a move that moves them backward, or if they did input their button late, you're still prone to whiffing. It seems like the hurtbox extension is for the follow-up of the drive rush and not the hurtbox of the characters themselves extending during drive rush. So it's easier to check them out if they press a button. If they don't, you're still prone. DJ is gonna rush you, gonna press your jab will whiff, he will attack you, it's gonna be a punish counter. That still happens, right? But you know what, they changed it, so they didn't alter that aspect of Jury and DJ, they didn't alter that aspect of Guile, Chun-Li, and some of the others who got a lot of mileage out of Fireball drive rush, right? So with all of that being said, the one thing I will say about this patch is ultimately it's a good thing, it's moving in the right direction, right? It's a good step in the right direction. The game feels better. The game feels more stable. The changes to Perfect Parry, I think, are great. The changing to Drive Rush, I'm not really sure about them, to be honest, so far, because it doesn't feel like a big change so far to me, to be honest. The changes to a lot of the characters where they want to incentivize you trying to be more aggressive with your normal, so you're taking more drive, but this is typically with heavy buttons, so you are more prone to be whiff punished. I think that's good. All of that is good. It's a good patch. It's a good step in the right direction. However, and I got to be honest, right? See, Cammy is like she already don't like it. She's looking the other way. I got to be honest. For an annual patch, your mileage out of this, your enjoyment will highly correlate with who you're playing. And I know this is an obvious thing, but let me explain, right? If you are a Ryu player, right? If you are an Aki player, this is a tremendous patch. This is a big deal. Capcom changed a lot about your characters. They nerfed a lot with characters, for example, like DJ and JP, etc. So it's a tremendous patch, right? However, and this must be stressed, Capcom was extremely conservative with their approach with some of the characters. Not everyone was treated equally. For example, like I said, if you are a Manon player, if you're a Kimberly player, if you are a Lily player, right, you're like, I've waited an entire year for this, and maybe even like Dulcim. These characters didn't do that well last season, right? Let me pull back to Manon a little bit, because this is a character that I do play right now. Manon did get buffed, don't get me wrong. I think she did get buff. She got a lot of changes, but if you compare what Manon got to what Ryu got, it is obvious that Capcom is a lot more conservative with Manon. They don't want to mess up and make Manon suddenly top tier, right? Because the public is not gonna like that, right? If Ryu happens to end up being the best character in the game, I mean, he's a Shoto, they're the most popular archetype, and he's probably the most popular Street Fighter character, so who cares, right? If Kimberly became the best character in the game, or if she became a top tier, you have seen the cries during the beta, right? They don't like it. If Aki became a top tier, well, she's a paid DLC, we already paid for her, she's a waifu, I can fix her, you know how everything goes. So what I'm trying to say is, this is good in case you play Manon, in case you play Lily, in case you play one of these characters where Capcom was super conservative with your approach. I think this is a decent patch if, and this is a big if Capcom is not changing, or if Capcom is changing the 1 year one patch per year approach. If this is the start of a number of patches this season, then that's good. If they are just slightly tweaking Manon and it's like, let's see in 3 or 4 months if this character is gonna be competitively viable or not, because let's be honest, Idom, Luffy, Oil King, Gashi-kun, I just named you 2 Capcom Cup champions, 2 EVO champions who weren't able to find competitive success with Manon. So you can't tell me that this is a character that is doing fine. Now, they adjusted her a little bit, they buffed her a little bit, but also they buffed most of the low tiers as well, right? So her overall placement, well, that's got to be seen, right? But you can't tell me, you can't look me in the eye and tell me that Manon got treated with the same love that Ryu Aki did, right? Even Rashid, the character who's like already top tier, probably got some more practical buffs than Manon. Rashid just getting his light cake Condor Spire to be able to cancel into super, and the slide cancelling into supers, that is honestly a big deal than what Manon got, right? So if this is the first patch and then they're gonna 3-4 months they're gonna, all right, Kimberly's not doing so well, let's give him more. Lily, she's not doing so well, let's give her more. If that is the approach now, I think it's a great patch. If it is see you in 2025, then that's gonna be very disappointing, to be honest, right? Again, If you're using Ryu, if you're using Aki, if you're using one of these characters, if you're using Ed, imagine, right? But if you're using one of these characters that just got a ton of buffs, then it's a great patch. Otherwise, will this shake up the meta? I think Ryu most definitely will see tournament play now. There's a lot of talks that he's the best Shoto right now. I think it's gonna be him or Akuma, to be honest. But he's at least, I think, giving what I've seen, giving what I saw with the patch and everything, the full picture, it will be hard for me to believe that Ryu's at least not as good as Luke right now. Right, probably as good. Akuma, I think he will be very strong, so Akuma will inject some life into the tournament scene. Rashid, probably by proxy of most of the top tiers being nerfed, will be in the upper echelon. Same for Juri. Aki probably will be top tier as well, so there will be a little bit of a shake-up, but I don't think it is a whole. Now we got to see Jamie. Now we got to see Kimberly. Now we got to see I don't think these characters are suddenly gonna become much more competitively viable. That is my opinion. We will see. I hope that they are. I hope that this patch will bring the game to a new height. But like I said, I do think overall what is here is good. I do think this is a positive patch. It made the game more stable, and that is good. If you have enjoyed this video, please leave a like or a comment. It helps the channel so much. I will be leaving a link to the Patreon, Discord, Twitter, and Twitch pages in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and stay safe.